Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this webinar today. I apologize, we're getting started a few minutes late. I had some technical difficulties, but I am here, so yay. All right, so my name is Dr. Sarv Varta Khalsa, and I'm a naturopathic physician here at Living Wellness Medical Center. And all of the physicians here, we take turns providing and presenting webinars every month, and October is my month. So thank you for joining me. What I've decided to talk about today for my webinar and share information on is mental health and what can we do to support our mental health. So why did I choose to talk about this for my webinar? Well, first of all, October 10th, which was yesterday, is World Mental Health Day. So I thought the timing seemed appropriate. Another reason I wanted to talk about mental health is because I think that we need to. We are definitely living in turbulent times right now. There's a lot going on in our country. There's a lot going on in the world. And a lot of political divide, unfortunately. You know, it used to be that we could have conversations about politics and agree to disagree and just be civil about it. And I think these days there's so much division. It's unfortunately breaking up families, ending friendships, which is terrible. It's really unfortunate. So hopefully we will get back to a place where we can have civil conversations about those sorts of things, I hope. So, but it has been very challenging for a lot of people. You know, as a physician, I do get to hear, you know, the mental health struggles of my patients, as well as just all you got to do is look around as well. So, not to mention, you know, we have a struggling economy. Clearly, things are tough for a lot of people right now. And so that just creates, for many people, extra challenges when it comes to supporting mental health and just trying to work through difficult times. On top of that, you know, we have just our usual typical life stresses, you know, major events that might happen or occur on top of these other additional things. And so, you know, maybe a divorce or the death of a loved one, or, you know, maybe your kid's going off to college for the first time and you have an empty nest, or your child starting school. So, you know, just major events that can also kind of have an impact on your overall mental health. And sometimes it just sort of stacks one thing on top of another, on top of another. And then you can start to feel a bit overwhelmed with which I think a lot of people are feeling these days. And then you add to that just your day-to-day stress, right? Of just being a human being on this planet and, you know, kind of the daily grind of work and whatever else might fill up your days. And so it all kind of, like I said, adds up together sometimes, and just becomes really important to make supporting your mental health a top priority. Really, really important to do that. So let's talk more about that. So I wanted to start off by talking about some statistics regarding anxiety, and then I'll talk about depression as well. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental health issue in the United States, affecting over 40 million adults, or about 19.1% of the population. That's a lot of people that are struggling with anxiety. And I will say that this is likely an underestimation of what it actually is, these numbers, because this would include people that actually seeked help. They went to their physician or their healthcare practitioner or their counselor and maybe received medication or counseling or something like that. There are lots and lots and lots of people that just struggle with different levels of anxiety and just kind of deal with it, you know, and they don't really seek help. And maybe they don't even realize, you know, that it is anxiety, or realize that there is help out there for them. So yes, anxiety is very, very common. An estimated 31% of all adults will experience an anxiety disorder at some point in their life. So once again, very prevalent. According to a 2024 American Psychiatric Association poll, 43% of adults reported feeling more anxious than the previous year. So more adults are feeling more anxious this year compared to last year. And like I said, there are lots of reasons for that. It's an election year, so the politics is at the forefront for a lot of people, and just a lot of unknowns. Sometimes things can feel a little bit unstable or unsure, or just not knowing, what the outcome of all of that is going to be and how it will affect your life. So there are a lot of unknowns. A lot of people are dealing with that. The prevalence of all mental disorders increased by 50% worldwide, from 416 million to 615 million between 1990 and 2013. This is from the World Health Organization. And now it's been 11 years since then. And I would imagine that number, that percentage, is even higher and going higher. So once again, very common in the United States, but also worldwide. So, and then a few statistics on depression. Not quite as common as anxiety, but still pretty common. Major depressive disorder affects approximately 17.3 million American adults, or about 7.1% of the US population age 18 and older in any given year. So once again, I just want to reiterate the fact that these are people that were officially diagnosed, went to see a doctor. There are lots of people that maybe have mood issues and struggle with sadness, depression, grief, day to day, that don't necessarily seek help for themselves. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to the overall global burden of disease. So we spend a lot of money treating these things, and whether it's toward disability or other, just people being out of the workforce and things like that, treatment, insurance, all that stuff. The United States reports some of the highest depression rates globally, which to me is a little bit surprising, considering the fact that we as Americans living in the United States have a pretty good life, pretty good existence compared to many people in the world, especially when, of course, you think of people that are living in areas right now where there are wars going on and all kinds of just terrible things, or people not having enough food, things like that. I think sometimes we take for granted a little bit the things and the comforts that we do have. I think it's really, really important for people, and especially children, but people in general, to explore and live or visit other countries, other cultures, and just see how other people live. And I think that you gain more of an appreciation for the things that you do have when you expose yourself to that. And so I grew up in India. Personally, I lived in India. I went to a boarding school from the age of 9 to 17. And, it was not necessarily an easy place to live. It's a third world country. We we're super lucky here to have hot running water every day and electricity on a regular basis. Those were things that we didn't have there, and certainly not a refrigerator full of delicious food. So, it just was a very, very different way to grow up. And when I did finally come back to the United States when I was 17, it really did strike me, just the contrast and just how lucky we really are to live here with all the comforts that we have. And that's not to downplay, when you do have mood issues, especially severe mood issues, or, things that you're struggling with, of course, that's important as well. But I think that gratitude can be a helpful thing sometimes to pull you out of that, or at least help. Modern populations are increasingly overfed, malnourished, sedentary, sunlight deficient, sleep deprived, and socially isolated. And for the last one, socially isolated, definitely, especially I would say the young people these days, teenagers, young adults, they're just constantly on social media and on their phones. We all know that. We call it glow face, right? You go to a restaurant, everyone's on their phone, they're not looking at each other, they're not speaking, they're not interacting. And it's kind of sad, to see that. And so I think we all need to make an effort to try to be more aware of that and just be more social. So these lifestyle changes strongly contribute to depression. So it's no surprise that depression is very prevalent among young people, especially these days as well, and growing. So what can we do about it? The good news is that there are things that you can do, quite a few things, to help support your mental health. So first and foremost, nutrition. Of course, what you put into your body, what you're eating on a daily basis, tremendously impacts the way that you feel. And some people don't realize this. They just have no idea that this is the case. Other people are aware of it, and just it's kind of difficult sometimes, to eat as healthy as you want to, especially if you have mood issues. A lot of people will eat, as a result, emotional eating and, choosing and reaching for the wrong things like sugar and stimulants and alcohol and things like that. And so, but eating a healthy diet, if you can manage to do that, is going to really, really help a lot. So lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, good quality proteins, healthy fats, very important. And just a nice, good, well-balanced diet with not a lot of sugar and processed foods and preservatives and things like that will really help you to feel a lot better if you're not already doing that. Avoiding drugs and alcohol, really, really important as well. It's so tempting to do that. And as we know, many people use that as a crutch and a way to sort of deal with their mental health challenges. And as we well know, these things may help a little bit temporarily in the moment, but in the long term, they absolutely will make the situation worse, and you will feel worse. Your health will be not as good, and that makes you feel even more depressed or anxious. And so if you can find alternative ways to deal with your mental health challenges, you're going to be much better off than choosing drugs and alcohol. Get adequate rest and sleep. I think we live in a culture that's kind of go, 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 and we're always trying to accomplish and push and move, and, that's okay. But it's really, really important to also make sure that you are allowing yourself and your body and your mind to rest and rejuvenate and make sure that you're getting plenty of sleep. Sleep is invaluable and can just in and of itself, when you're getting enough sleep, can help with mental, emotional issues. And then spend time in nature. That can be really, really healing. And something that we sometimes don't do enough of, for some people more than others. Some people are nature people, other people not so much. But in general, I would say spending time in nature, even if it's not totally your thing, can be really, really helpful. And so getting sunshine and fresh air is just good for your body and good for your mind and your emotional well-being. It's obviously been really hot here in Arizona, in Phoenix, the never-ending summer, it feels like. Hopefully we will start to have a bit of a cool down coming up soon, and we can get out and about and enjoy nature a little bit more once it cools down. Also, just generally getting your body moving, exercise regularly. We all know that exercise generally helps with mental wellness, mental emotional wellness. And the more that you can incorporate that into your daily routine, the better that you feel, and if you have certain physical limitations, there are always ways that you can get your body moving. Even, you don't have to be running a marathon or anything crazy or major. Not that that's so crazy for some people. They enjoy doing that, but it doesn't have to be anything major, just, could be something simple at home. Doing a little video or a series of exercises or stretching or whatever it is to get your body moving. Really important. Along those lines, yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, these are all activities that help to swing your body into the parasympathetic or relaxation mode from the sympathetic kind of fight or flight mode. And so, sometimes, especially when we have stress upon stress and stress, we get stuck in that fight or flight mode and we just feel anxious all the time and we just can't seem to come down from that. So these are things that can really help to kind of initiate and swing your body back into that parasympathetic rest and digest mode. It's also really, really important to make time for joyful activities. Once again, we often get stuck in the grind of everyday, work and taking care of everybody all the time. And, we don't necessarily make it a priority to do joyful things that bring our spirit to life and give us joy and peace and things like that. And so, everyone's different with what they consider to be a joyful activity. Maybe for someone it's, reading a book. For another person, it's going to see a movie or spending time with family or friends or eating a nice meal with people. And so whatever brings you joy, it's just really important to make time for that. And I think we forget that sometimes. We all need sort of gentle reminders on a regular basis to do this for ourselves. Listen to music. I think we all know the tremendous impact that music can have on how we feel. You can be in a really sad or anxious or depressed mood and put on some music and it can just really lift your spirit and lift up how you're feeling. So don't underestimate the power of that. And really along those lines also, sound therapy, there is such a thing, go to a gong meditation. Gongs are amazing. They help to kind of vibrate every cell in your body and clear out your subconscious mind and just really kind of a great reset for your body as well as your mental health. Singing bowls and, things like that. So you could seek out that sort of thing. Also, I think having some sort of spiritual or religious practice is very, very helpful in supporting your mental health, especially, with religion often, especially if you go to church or whatever kind of congregation as part of your religious practice. There's community that comes with that. And community is so, so important for mental health and just in general, creating and maintaining connections with people. They've done a lot of studies on happiness, which have shown that one of the most important elements of happiness is community and having relationships with people and connections with people, deep, meaningful connections with people. And so often some sort of spiritual or religious practice incorporates this as part of your life, which is super important. Take breaks from the news and social media. Oh my goodness. I have an app on my phone. I'm guilty of it. I have an app on my phone that feeds me news every day, all the top news here in Arizona, across the nation, even across the world to a certain degree. And, it's nice because it keeps me up to date with stuff that's happening. But at the same time, I would estimate maybe a good 80% of the news that comes through is bad news. Back in the day, before the internet, we're lucky to have, information at our fingertips. But the other side of the coin is that we hear all the bad news that's happening everywhere and anywhere in the world. And so it can sometimes feel really sad and really overwhelming. And it's often not anything that we can control or do anything about. We just read these sad stories, and my goodness, it can definitely be really overwhelming over time, and it can kind of make it feel like the world is falling apart. And so, yes, we have challenges, but no, the world is not falling apart. We will get through it, and it just can be a challenge, though. So taking breaks from those things, especially social media as well. I know young people are doing other things these days, Snapchat, Instagram, things like that. I guess social media is for old people now. I've been told. I guess I'm old. Anyway, Facebook is a nice way to stay in touch with friends and family, of course, but it can also start to affect your mental health to a certain degree as well, especially if you're going on there and people always present their best side and the best parts of their lives very often. And, I think people as human beings tend to kind of compare themselves and their lives to other people and what they're doing. Oh my gosh, that everyone's like taking vacations and traveling to Europe and doing fun things. And, I'm not, or whatever it is, wow, their family looks so put together and perfect and happy. And, we all know that in reality, that is often not the case behind closed doors, or, every person, every family, everybody has their challenges, their issues. And so it's important not to get, too wrapped up in that with social media and spend too much time focusing on those things. So take breaks, very important. Also, just having generally a positive mental attitude in life. I mean, that is everything. I mean, it's so, so important. You can do daily affirmations. Probably many of you have heard of Louise Hay. She's famous for kind of this concept. She's written many books on positive affirmations. And if you're interested, you can research her a little bit and maybe order one or more of her books. And they're wonderful. So just having a positive mental attitude, and even, like I said, speaking daily affirmations every day can be really super helpful, because you're starting to focus on the more positive things in your life and the more positive things about yourself. Counseling and therapy, of course, can be really helpful. I often encourage my patients that are struggling mentally and emotionally to seek counseling if it's appropriate for them, if they are not already seeing a counselor. And it's really, really important to find the right counselor, one that, you have a good rapport with, and you're sort of on the same page about what you're looking for and what they're offering. But I consider that very, very important and helpful in many cases of anxiety, depression, and mood issues in general. You can do vagus nerve stimulation. So this relates primarily to anxiety, but your vagus nerve is the main nerve involved in your parasympathetic relaxation nervous system. And so when you stimulate the vagus nerve, it helps to activate the parasympathetic side of your nervous system, and once again can swing you from that sympathetic fight or flight mode into a more relaxed parasympathetic state. So there are different ways to do this. There are different exercises where you're doing little pressure points behind your ears, or you're turning your head a certain way and looking, the opposite direction, and just different exercises that you can do that help stimulate the vagus nerve. If you go to YouTube, you can just do a search, vagus nerve stimulation or vagal nerve stimulation, and all kinds of videos will come up if you're interested in checking that out. And they're all just very, very subtle, gentle techniques, nothing strenuous or anything like that. They also actually make vagus nerve stimulators. Who knew? And so it's kind of almost like a TENS unit in a way. And it feels like a little kind of vibration, a little electricity, a little vibration. And you place it kind of behind your ear. And it stimulates your vagus nerve. And, you can do that on a daily basis, and it can really help a lot with anxiety. You can, I think I think that we actually sell vagus nerve stimulators here at our office at Living Wellness Medical Center. You can also get them on Amazon. There's definitely a very price range, some more expensive than others, but if it's something you're interested in, you could kind of look around for that. There are also, of course, supplements and sometimes medications. There's a time and a place for medications, especially if we've tried all the natural treatments or supplements and nothing seems to be helping as much as it needs to. Medications are always an option. Of course, as a naturopathic physician, I'm always wanting to use the least invasive supportive therapies first, if possible. So sometimes there can also be physical causes or reasons why you have depression or anxiety. And so, sometimes I'll have a patient that will tell me, my life is fantastic. There's nothing situational, nothing, stressful going on, or any obvious reason why they should feel anxious or depressed, and yet they do. And this is a clue to me that there is most likely some sort of physical contributing factor to their mood issues. And so we can look into that. And so doing, of course, basic kind of annual labs is a good idea if you haven't had that done in a while. So checking thyroid function, checking your hormones to make sure you don't have any kind of hormonal imbalance that might be causing mood issues for you. Adrenal insufficiency or fatigue can definitely affect your overall mood, as well as, of course, energy and other things. So those are important to look at. You can also, a lot of people don't realize, you can also actually test your neurotransmitters. And so this is a urine test. We offer this at our office at Living Wellness Medical Center. All the doctors here do offer this to our patients when indicated. And it's basically a kit that you take home and you collect the urine sample, and the lab sends the results back to us, and then we review them together. And it lets us know. It basically tests all the main neurotransmitters: serotonin, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, PEA, glycine, glutamine, GABA. So it tests all of these neurotransmitters. Some are excitatory, some are inhibitory. So uppers and downers, right? And so you need to have a balance between the two. And sometimes, a test will come back, maybe that serotonin is low. So that lets us know, okay, we need to boost that up, and that will really, really help a lot with depression, among other things. And so based on your individual test results, we can, support and balance your neurotransmitters with natural therapies, natural supplements and nutrients and things like that, which is fantastic, as opposed to maybe having to be on some sort of medication like an SSRI, Prozac, or something like that. It's nice that we have alternatives. We can test for MTHFR genetic mutation. This is a mutation that affects your body's ability to produce the active form of folate. And this can have a lot of deleterious effects in the body, including affecting your mood, especially anxiety. And so the good news is that we can test for this and treat it if it does come back positive. And a lot of times that can really improve mental health as well. We offer something called the Kashi test, which includes the MTHFR as well as another mutation called COMT, another possible gene mutation that can affect neurotransmitters especially. And this is a salivary test, the Kashi test. And then it's also really important to test for any gastrointestinal issues that might be going on. There is a very close and direct connection between your gut function, your beneficial bacteria or lack thereof in your gut, and mood, anxiety especially, but your mental health can be absolutely affected by your gut function. And so this is always something to look into as well when you're struggling with mood issues. Another example is the majority of serotonin is actually produced in your gut. Many people think of, it's from the brain, but actually a lot of it's produced in the gut. So if you have gut issues, you're not going to be producing as much serotonin. And serotonin is your happy neurotransmitter, and you're not going to feel as happy without it. So there are ways to address this. So treatments for depression and anxiety. Supplements, of course, are very helpful. So 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan, this is a precursor or a building block to serotonin. It helps boost it up. It can be really helpful for depression. The dosage should really be determined by your doctor, and especially if you are taking already any kind of psychiatric medications or anything, that definitely needs to be under the supervision of your doctor. Then there are supplements like L-theanine, Pharmagaba, glycine. These are wonderful treatments for anxiety, and they basically kind of calm your nervous system, calm your mind, calm your body. Really can be super helpful for anxiety as well as sleep. L-tyrosine is a building block of your neurotransmitters, so can really help with focus and mood, ADHD, things like that as well. There are herbs like St. John's wort, and it's kind of a famous herb known for helping with depression. Once again, this is an herb that, should be used under the supervision of your doctor. And one of the reasons is because there are a lot of potential interactions with medications and even sometimes natural supplements, because St. John's wort does affect the detox pathways in your liver, which a lot of medications are also processed through your liver. And so it can affect how well they're working for you, one way or another, that they're getting cleared too quickly or not as quickly. Usually it's not as quickly. And then homeopathic remedies. Homeopathy is wonderful to help support mood, and homeopathy is very individually prescribed. And so it's not like, there's one remedy that's going to help every person with depression or every person with anxiety. But I've just listed here a few remedies that are probably the most commonly prescribed: Ignatia, Sepia, Pulsatilla, Natrum muriaticum, Nat-mer for short, Aurum metallicum. These are all wonderful remedies for depression. And, once again, I base my recommendation, whichever remedy I choose for the particular patient that I'm seeing, based on their specific and individual experience of depression, because not everybody experiences depression in the same way. There are other remedies: Arsenicum album and Argentum nitricum. These are wonderful remedies for anxiety. So homeopathy can be really, really helpful. Acupuncture. I love, love, love acupuncture. Of course, use it a lot in my practice for pain. It's super effective and helpful for that. But the good news is that it can also treat really your whole body, your overall mental health, and it's extremely calming and relaxing and great for stress management. That's sort of one of the side benefits of acupuncture, is just that sort of stress release and stress relief that it can provide. And so, I have some patients that come in just for that reason, because they're stressed out or anxious. And then I have other patients that come in for other things. And like I said, that's just a wonderful side benefit that they experience with the acupuncture. Counseling, of course, once again, very helpful and important. And then the specific techniques, maybe like EMDR. EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That is a specific technique where you're doing certain eye movements while you're sort of processing through past traumatic events and things like that. So it helps you kind of move through trauma from the past. It can be definitely helpful for people. It can also be a little bit intense for some people. So I would say it's not for everyone. And you have to maybe, kind of be ready to deal with and move through that trauma when you seek a practitioner that does EMDR. Just make sure that, it's something that you're on board with and, kind of know what you're getting into. But it can be really, really super helpful to support mental health as well. So in conclusion, anxiety and depression are very prevalent in the United States and worldwide. And the prevalence of anxiety and depression are increasing over time. There are, fortunately, effective tools, though, that can evaluate causes of anxiety and depression, as well as, of course, treating those things. And so naturopathic medicine has a very large toolbox of options, which is nice, to treat mental health issues. So we don't have just medication. We have all the wonderful things that I just talked about. self-care should be a top priority in your life for mental health support. You know, we all need constant reminders to do that, to put ourselves on the list and to take care of ourselves and be gentle with ourselves. And so can't emphasize that enough, just that concept of self-care. And something just as simple as having more gratitude in your life can help to boost up your mental health and it can help you feel better. So that is my talk for today. You know, some of it, you know, maybe just gentle reminders for many of you. Other things might be new that you didn't know about before. Hopefully you learned a little something new today. Once again, thank you so much for joining me for this webinar today. Here's my information here for Living Wellness Medical Center. Feel free to visit our website. Give us a call if you'd like to schedule a free 10-minute phone consultation. All the doctors here offer free phone consultations, kind of like a meet and greet, to make sure that it's a good fit for what you're looking for and what we have to provide for you. So if you have any questions, I am going to open it up to questions at this point. Okay. I don't see any questions yet. Feel free to type in the chat if you have a specific question, and I'd be happy to answer it. Otherwise, like I said, you have my contact information here. You can reach out to me if you have any questions or anything like that. And I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the rest of your Friday. All right, until next time, I'll see you later. Thank you. Bye.